Hi everyone, so I am Jessica from Letters to Apollo. I am the owner of the sticker shop, and this week I am doing a very different plan with me from what I usually do, and I think my personality will end up coming out a little bit more in this video rather than me just placing some stickers down and not really knowing what to talk about. So I'm not really going to be talking anything about the stickers that I'm using in this plan with me. I will leave all the stickers and anything I use down below in the description box if you do want to know what I'm using. But for me personally, I find some plan with me's, or majority of the plan with me's, even mine sometimes, to be pretty boring just because we already know a lot of the stickers that people are using because they come from very popular shops and so on and so forth. So I was watching a makeup artist. Her name is Bailey Sarian, and she comes out with these murder, mystery, and makeup Mondays, and I was so inspired by her videos. She has like 65 videos on her playlist. You can watch them right now, and I literally binged all 65 within a week because I was like filling orders nonstop the last like 2.5 weeks. First whole week that I was filling y'all's orders, I watched almost every single one of her videos. Some of them are a little bit too creepy for me, so I won't watch them, but most of them I ended up watching. So I decided that I was going to be mixing planning and murder and mystery together to kind of give it a little pizzazz, I guess you can say. And today we're going to be talking about Susan Wright. Before we get into this, I do want to do a disclaimer where if you have any kids around or you have people that are pretty sensitive to domestic violence or anything like that, I just want to let you know that this does entail that, including murder. So if you are sensitive to that, please exit this video. I completely understand, but I did want to give that warning. Okay, so we're going to get into this. There's two sides to this story. I'm going to give the side that she gave to the court first, and I'm going to give the side that shows proof of how it went down, actually. But I'm going to give a little bit of a backstory first. So Susan met her husband back in 1997 in Galveston, Texas, which, if you're coming from outside of Texas and you want to go to a beach, do not go to Galveston. It is so disgusting. It's brown water. Don't go. Anyways, she met him there while she was a waitress, and they ended up getting married the following year as she had fell pregnant with their first child. And from what their friends had said, they didn't mind getting married because they were pretty in love and they seemed pretty happy, and everybody thought that they were pretty much like cookie cutter kind of couple. He was 30 when he got married to her, and she was 22. So there's a bit of a gap between them. From what I had read, he was very much like a playa, if you know what I mean. He did drugs back in the day, and he was always with his friends and type of thing. But when he ended up getting married, he became a carpet salesman, and things kind of seemed pretty normal until their first child was born, and she claims that he started to become pretty abusive towards her verbally first until he started to take it to another level when it turned to physical abuse. He would constantly be under the influence of either cocaine or marijuana. This is what she claims, but there's no proof of this. And she also never filed any reports of her abuse, as some women kind of report this type of stuff. So people were kind of like standoffish towards her when she had made this claim to the court when all of this was kind of unfolding. So on January 13th of 2003, he came home pretty high and very agitated. one night, and he had came home from a boxing class. So he was high off of drugs and also pretty high off of adrenaline, from what I could imagine. Because usually you're pretty high off of adrenaline when you get off of your workout and things like that. And your endorphins are kind of going. And he wanted to box his 4-year-old son, which kind of blows my mind to begin with. But she claims that that's what he was trying to do, that he wanted to teach his son how to fight, and he was trying to teach him, and the son didn't want to play. Like, he didn't want anything to do with it. So he was telling his son that he was some mean ass things, you guys. Like, he was calling him pretty ugly names, which if you want to, you can go look through the court reports and you can see what he was calling him. I'm not going to say them on here because I can say like pretty basic bad names, but me imagining my husband saying those type of things to my kid or his kid, like, no, sir. So, he ended up hitting his son on the cheek, and she got pretty upset, and she had told him, like, if you don't have your shit together, I'm going to leave and I'm taking the kids with me. And from what she claims, he had hit her and threw her against the wall and pinned her against the wall and said, "Don't give me any ultimatums, bitch. You don't have a fucking right." Which, if my man were to do that type of stuff, I probably would do something similar to what she did. But I'm not saying that I would murder my husband at all whatsoever, because I don't think I could even kill him. I need him a little bit too much. He's really good to me, so I couldn't even imagine him doing any of this to me. So later that night, she says that he ended up raping her, which she said that this was a pretty frequent thing, that he would never take no for an answer. And yes, you can get raped while you're married. Yes, this is a thing. If you say no or he says no and they force that upon you, that is rape. No means no, guys. No is no. So I just had to throw that out there. So while he was raping her, supposedly she had heard him say "die bitch," and she hit him in the groin when she heard him say that, and fought him off of her and took the knife that he supposedly was about to stab her with and stabbed him repeatedly. And she said that she had stabbed him, like, this is what she said on the stand, that they had asked, like, her lawyers had asked her, "Where did you stab him?" And she said, "In the head, in the chest, in the neck, in the legs, for all the times that he had kicked me, and in the penis for all the times that he had made me have sex with him when I didn't want to." So when she said this, I was kind of like, oh, okay, like, so she's kind of like stabbing him in places that she kind of had resentment towards, is what I got. And the lawyer that was against her didn't believe a word she said, and her name was Kelly Siegler, and she is a pretty popular lawyer, and she is tough, y'all. Like, she's a tough little cookie. Like, she is one of my favorite lawyers. If you know anything about any lawyers, especially if you're in true crime, you probably know a couple. And she didn't believe a word she had said, and she said that she doesn't believe her at all whatsoever, because there's evidence that she had tied him against the bed, y'all. Yes. She was trying to seduce him, and he had candle wax on his body, which that is some freaky stuff. I don't want no burning wax on my body. That's all I'm saying. But they did actually bring the bed frame and the bed into the courtroom. So they had kind of put a towel over the bed, because the bed, like the actual bed, they brought in the actual bed that he was murdered on, and it was super bloody, so they ended up putting like a towel over it, and they had like a man tied to it, and she got on top of him, and she started like acting like Kelly was acting like she was stabbing him, so that the jury could kind of get an idea. And yeah, that was freaking wild to me that they allowed her to do that. But but she had said that there's no way that he could have defended himself, like, at all whatsoever, and that she should be guilty for the murder. And medical examiners actually agree with Kelly as well, since all the stab wounds were in the front of his body, and even the medical examiners were like, if I were to get murdered, I'd be trying to run, and there would be, like, wounds on my back because I'm getting out of there as soon as I can, as anybody would. So she claims that she didn't start her stabbing sesh while he was tied to the bed. She had said that actually she had tied him up after she heard her son knock on their door. Yes, you guys. Their kids were still in the house. So they had the son, and they had, I believe, a 2-year-old daughter, and her name is Kaylee. And supposedly the kid had came into the room, and she had put on a robe and tied him up to the bed. So she tied all 4 limbs to the bed because she was worried that he would kind of get up and kind of revive, I guess you can say, and go after her or the kids and try to kill them. So that was her claim, was that she was just trying to look out for them. And after she put her son back to bed, she ended up going to the kitchen, getting another knife, and starting all over again. In total, she ended up stabbing him 193 times. I'm pausing because 193 times. Like, that's a lot of anger. A lot. So when she finally was content with the amount of times that she ended up stabbing him, she got a dolly from their patio, and she dragged his body. Well, she actually put his body into the bed sheets, dragged his body into the patio, and they had a home renovation situation going on, and the husband had went through the foundation and already dug a hole. So she basically dug him in the hole that he had already dug and buried him. And supposedly there was a couple of days, I believe there was about 6 days, that she says that she was foggy. She doesn't remember anything about those days, but from records, they claim, well, this is not a claim, this is like a for sure thing, that she ended up emptying all of the bank accounts that they had together. She had put in a report to the police of abuse against him. She had took out his name from the voice recording of their home. Back then, this was when everybody still had a home phone. And she also had cleaned up the whole entire house. Like, she bleached the whole house. She ended up repainting the whole house so that there would be no evidence left behind. And I guess she started to feel some sort of guilt after 8 days, and she called her attorney, called him to her house, and she had confessed that she had murdered her husband. And that's when kind of everything kind of went a little crazy. So I don't know, like, if you're foggy in your head, like Bailey Sarian says, like, that's a little suspicious. Like, I don't think that if you're kind of foggy, like, I don't think that you could actually do all of that. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever been in a foggy state of mind to actually understand, like, how your brain actually functions during a time like that. But she says that she still, like, did her daily routine. Like, she still took her kids to school. She picked them up. She, like, tried to live life as normal as possible. But she couldn't deal with the guilt of murdering her husband. So when she went to court, she actually got convicted, and she got 25 years in prison rather than life, which is actually pretty good for Texas. Like, Texas, you usually get life, and you do get the death penalty here in Texas, which she didn't get either one. But there was a lawyer in the whole court situation, like in the whole courtroom, but he was like he wasn't a part of the whole shebang. He was enjoying the ride, and he was looking at it from a distance, and he was in the courtroom while all of this was happening, and he had said, "Hey, I'll actually work for you for free, and I'm gonna get this appealed for you because you were a battered woman, and yeah, I don't like any of this that happened for you, so we're gonna change things up a bit." And the lawyers that she had were kind of like, "Hey, like 25 years is pretty much nothing for murdering her husband." And he was like, "Yeah, but you forgot like a whole bunch of stuff that I ended up finding, so we're gonna do this." So she was like, "Fine, it's free, I'm gonna do it." From what I had read in a couple articles, even from what I remember, because this was in 2003, I was probably like in middle school, I think. And my mom used to be really into like murders and stuff just as much as I am, which I'm pretty sure I ended up getting this from my mom. But from what I remember people saying that she would offer like sexual favors since he was doing it for free, but I'm not 100% sure on this. But because he ended up finding this person, her name was Misty McMichael, she came forward and claimed that he had also abused her and she was engaged to him. But because he had abused her so often, she got away. She didn't want to deal with it. She had filed a police report, got him arrested, and he took a plea deal. And Misty and Susan had that thing in common where they were both strippers. So a lot of people didn't want to believe that they kind of had this situation with this man, especially the dad. The dad wasn't buying it. And he was like, "I don't know what it is, but it seems to be like the sisterhood of the strippers." And I was like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe that." But what I find pretty effed up about the whole thing is that there's actually pictures of her bruises and the cut he had gave her on the chin from throwing glass at her face. And he was actually booked in jail. Like, Jeff was booked in jail. So if I were to find out that my kid had did this, he'd be getting a butt whooping from me. I don't know about you. But she took the gamble, and he had told her like, we'll get this kind of appealed, and we'll get you like a less sentence for what you did, and so on and so forth. And it paid off, you guys. She is up for parole in July of 2020. That obviously passed, and I tried to research like hardcore, and I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find if she's actually out, if she's on probation, anything at all whatsoever. And if you're wondering about the kids, they were actually adopted by Jeff's brother. So I gave you the part that she claims that how she did it, right? But there is evidence of how it actually went down. So the evidence shows that she had first initially like made him a really nice supper. He didn't want it because he was obviously high and so on and so forth. She was aggravated about it. And I think from what the lawyer had said, Kelly had said, that she had already made up her mind that she was going to end up murdering this man. And she had tied him up to the bed, and she was seducing him. She put the candle wax all over him, and that's when all four limbs were already tied down, and she was like, "Forget this, I'm stabbing you," and she went for it. And whenever the kid had came in, well, he didn't come into the room, he knocked. She had put him back to bed, got a new knife, and kept going. And she had said, the lawyer had said, Kelly had said, that that's not anger. Like, that's something else. Like, that's just you resenting someone, which resentment and anger are kind of the same thing in my opinion. But she said that she had no right to murder him, which I think that's right. Like, I don't think that you ever have a right to actually murder somebody as much as you want to. Don't do that. Like, it's not worth it. But, like, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that she tied him up after she had already stabbed him? Or do you think that she tied him up first and then stabbed him? But I just found it really hella wild that they ended up bringing the bed and the frame into the court and showed all of that. And the knife that she was stabbing him with wasn't big at all whatsoever. It was probably like 3 to 4 inches big, and it was pretty narrow. Like it had to be, you know, like really sharp because of how narrow it was. But I don't know. I couldn't imagine stabbing someone for 193 times. Like, imagine how long that would take. Stabbing someone for 193 times. I don't even want to think about that. But she got like, when you go on tabloids and such, they gave her the name of the blue-eyed butcher. And there's actually movies about this. There was a Lifetime movie, which is how I learned about this case. Is they showed it the way that, I believe it's the prosecutors, how they say it, like where she tied him up to the bed and she seduced him and she put the kid to sleep, got a new knife and kept stabbing him some more and buried him, type of thing. But yeah, this is a pretty messed up case. Like, I don't know about you. I don't think a lot of people really know about this case. That's why I want to talk about it. But next week, if I can get around to it, if I can get everything that I want to get done and do it next week. If not, it's going to end up being the week after that. That one is a really wild case, which I don't think a lot of people know. But I'm going to give you a chance to get caught up next week with watching a movie. If you want to kind of have it spoiled to you, you can have it spoiled to you. I don't mind it. But I always recommend this movie, which a lot of people didn't watch this movie, and it surprises me. It was on Netflix, but it was on Netflix a really long time ago. I was still in high school, which I was in high school 10 years ago, you guys. And I was pretty young. I think I was a sophomore or a junior in high school when I watched this movie, and it's called Dear Zachary. It is not a movie, it's more of a documentary, but if you want to watch it, you can watch it, but that is the case that I'm going to be talking about next week. But yeah, leave your comments down below. Do you think she tied him up before or after? What do you think? I think she did it before. I think she knew what she was doing. I think she wanted him gone, but I don't think that she could deal with all the stuff. But in the movie, in the Lifetime movie, they made it seem like she moved and the new owners had a dog and he dug up the bones, which is not true. That was just for entertainment purposes. That's not how it went down. She turned herself in. But yeah, let me know what you think, before or after. I'm pretty convinced that it was before. But yeah, that's just me. Let me know what you think below. Alright, so that is all, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you like this, please let me know. If you don't, let me know. But yeah, I hope you got a little bit more of my personality through this, rather than me being like, hey, this is my sticker type of thing. But yeah, let me know. Alright, bye!